Segment 2, Gold and Black Live. I don't know. After segment 1, this room got prettier, I think, really. We got Seth Morales, Montrell Lowe, Brandon Gorin. It's the offensive guys on the Purdue's 2001 Rose Bowl team. You know, one thing I've been noticed in my first segment is what great people are a part of this outfit, and it's the same thing for this group. And there's a reason why this team was successful. I want to start to kind of reintroduce you guys, most your household names to the Purdue faithful, but give us a little bit of elevator speech, I guess, of what you're doing now. And I think that G is for Gorin. Brandon, you get to go first. Tell us a little bit about what's up with you these days.
I am living in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been married, but actually I married a Boilermaker, so that's all cool. I got 3 kids. Just had one about a year ago. So going on 10 months, so he's starting to walk. So I am a gray hair chasing around a little baby. Yeah. It's been fun. I've started coaching. Got a freshman in high school, so I'm coaching him. It's been a lot of fun. Own some restaurants here, restaurant group, and then been doing some real estate investing.
Outstanding. All right. Lowe is next. Montrell, you're up next, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, Boilermaker faithful. How you doing? Got married to I can say my high school sweetheart. We've been together for about 8 to 9 years. We got 2 little ones that are really not little anymore. Time is flying, man. I have one son, Harper Montrell Lowe. He's 7. I have a daughter, Piper Lowe. She's 11. She just went to junior high. My wife was, we both were kind of nervous about that, but she's transitioned pretty well. And, just kind of doing business in pharmaceutical sales. I own my own tech company as well. And we're just, living life and, got an opportunity of a lifetime to reunite this or, bring this thing together. And in my family that wasn't there at the time, obviously, gets a chance to be a part of it and kind of see what Daddy and his brothers did that was special in Purdue history.
Yeah, Montrell, before I go to Seth, you will not believe campus is all I have to say. When you set eyes on the skyscrapers on campus and everything else that's going on, unbelievable. Seth, give us a little update of what's going on with you.
Yeah, just like Brandon, I'm here in Indianapolis, married 12 years, married a Hoosier, unfortunately. But we've got a house divided that's amicable. Got 2 kids. 7 and 4. My oldest, he's got some wheels. I've been coaching him in flag football, so we'll see if he can break away and break some tackles. I've been here in the city working for a company called the Morales Group. We do a lot of staffing and recruiting, and built this business alongside my father over the last 15 years, and had a lot of fun growing it, helping people find jobs, and just doing some good around the city of Indianapolis. So that's kind of my story.
Yeah, well, man, that's impressive for all 3 of you guys and what you've got going on. All right, Brandon, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, number 15 gets a lot of credit and should, obviously, with this offense. But the offensive line was historic in terms of how good it was. Not only yourself, but 4 or 5 of you played in the league at one point in time. You've watched football, been around football. Talk about that, and you also brought a lot of the personnel. I guess any line that has Matt Light on it's going to have personality. We know that by definition. Yeah. But tell me about just the way you guys put it all together and helped to kind of be the foundation of this offense back in 2000.
Well, I think we were. Fortunately, some of us were the Coletto guys, so we're a little bit older than Drew and Montrell. I think Seth older than those guys, and so we had been on campus a while. A lot of us had changed positions. So when Tiller came in, a lot of us were not in the offensive line room. Tiller came in, kind of switched us to the offensive side of the ball, or maybe like Light's case, moved down to line. Offensive line from tight end. And so I think we kind of came with a little different perspective about from offensive line than than maybe typical, because that wasn't what we did. It wasn't what we were recruited to do. And so when we got in there, we had a little different personality makeup than maybe the typical offensive line might have, because that wasn't our makeup. And so we were a pretty competitive group. We bonded well. Obviously, we took a lot of pride. It's easy when you have a quarterback like Drew to want to protect him. And so obviously our offense was built around heavy on the pass game. No disrespect, Montrell.
Can take it, I'm sure.
Heavy on the pass game, and so we took a lot of pride in that area. Obviously, Drew brought a lot of notoriety to us as an offense, and then as an offensive line. And so protecting him was kind of our number one priority. And we had a great coach, Coach Hope. We all bonded really well with him, and so we were a really close group. And like you said, we had some talented guys. It was a lot of fun. All those guys you played in the NFL and years of, it was kind of a lot of fun to be around an offensive line that took pride. It's a newer term, but we had a little bit of swagger to us.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so that helped.
My favorite cover in all my years at Golden Black was you guys in the limousine protecting the franchise. Not as quite as stylish as the Speedos. You'll never live that one down. I know, Seth, you just had the right response right there, Seth. Cover your face. But no, you guys were fun to be around. And I just remember that photo shoot was a lot of fun. Montrell, not many guys run for over 150 yards against Michigan. I know that Brandon talked about it. Obviously, when you have Drew Brees, you have a pass happy offense. But you came in, this was your redshirt sophomore year, your second year, but running the football was important, and it certainly was against Michigan. Take me back not only to that game, but then also the Indiana game, which I think Jim Chaney said you ran the same play like 23 straight times. And I think you carried it about 19 of those 23, if I recall. But what it was like to play with a pass-happy offense, but be a guy that was responsible for carrying the mail a lot of the times.
Well, kind of piggybacking off of what Goran said, I knew that we were a pass-happy offense. I understood that. My goal, after talking to the offensive lineman, spending some time with Goran, spending some time with Chucky and other people, it was like, my thought process was do a lot with a little. Yeah. That was my mindset. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get the ball 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times, but my goal is to put this team in the best position I can with whatever I got, and as time goes on, for me, it made more sense to me because I'm like, hey, I see my friends who graduated and went to the University of Texas getting banged up 30 times a game, and I'm getting 15 or 20, and I'm making just as much hay as they are, right? So it was about just, like Goran said, different people were switching to different positions, but it was about doing your part, and doing it that way every time, every day, all the time. And, you start to gain those relationships with Seth Morales and seeing his hard work coming up through the ranks and doing what he had to do to get on the field. And then you had older guys that came in from Coletto that had been around the campus for a while and was saying, hey, younger guys, this is how to move. This is what you should do. This is how you stay on the field. This is how you have to get your homework done. So it was more than just, football. They were helping me in all aspects, of just being at Purdue and being from Texas, right? So I guess, the old saying still holds true. I mean, you hang around the barbershop long enough, you'll get a haircut, right? And you start hanging around winners. You start hanging around people who have that swagger, like Goran was saying. And then all these guys were getting great educations and doing different things like that. And so as a young guy, you just want to be a part of what's going on. And then you start, obviously, number 15, Drew, you start having conversations with him and saying, hey, this is where you need to be. This is what you got to do. And so things just start happening. So the Michigan game, you go in there, and it was my time to put the team in position. Same thing when it was my time to put our team in position and close out the game. And, when your number is called, no different than kind of like a Nick Saban type of thing. When your number is called, you just got to make it. And I was able to do that, and it's been a blessing. I have great teammates to help me do that.
Yeah, Seth, I think an interesting thing, and we can, it's a beautiful thing for you because you obviously made one of the biggest plays in the history of Purdue football. But I want to ask you something a little different. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the whole notion of leadership and what it was like sitting in that locker room at halftime of the Michigan game, down 18 points, you just lost to Penn State. There were dreams of the seniors maybe going down the toilet. I mean, to be honest, at that point, Brandon Gorin, Drew Brees, others that, they may not get there. What was your thought process at that point, trailing the Wolverines and trying to figure out a way to do it? Was it confidence? Was it, next man up? How did you view that? Maybe through the lens of 21 years later.
Yeah, I remember that game. I remember we were getting worked the first half of they were throwing the ball and our defense couldn't slow them down. And so we got in the locker room. I remember it was quiet, but it was kind of a quiet confidence. And we knew that we were going to move forward and win that game. We had to do some things differently. We had to play fast. Obviously we got the ball to Montrell. He made some plays through the pass to Staniford and Vinny a couple times and scored. And I think, having a line that was so senior, I think the line doesn't get enough credit. You think about that Ohio State game and that pass, the credit goes to those guys. So I think the coaches like Chaney, after the Penn State game, I think he was in our ass. He was just all
he was.
It was a terrible, that Sunday practice after we lost to Penn State. We lost Notre Dame earlier, and we were better than both of those teams. So Michigan was kind of like, oh shit, this season could go 500 if we don't get our act together, because we had Wisconsin, obviously, and Ohio State around the corner. So I think it was just kind of one of those things where you had some really great leaders. You had some leaders, and we had a system that worked. And I think we just played together and played fast, and we got the ball to some of our playmakers, and it turned out right. So I'm just grateful to be on the field. And I was grateful to stock block for you, Montrell, in the second half. I love it. And so that was my shtick, man. I wasn't catching all the passes, so I was just happy to be out there.
Yeah. Seth obviously got to Purdue transferring from Butler and turned into quite the success story. All right, now Seth gets asked this question all the time, so I'm not going to ask Seth the question that we all know about the 64-yard touchdown pass and that moment against Ohio State. It's going to be a where were you now? Where were you, Montrell Lowe? Were you on the field at the time? Take me through what you remember of that magical moment in Ross-Ade Stadium that really, in effect, delivered Purdue to the Rose Bowl.
I kind of somewhat remember it. So we called a pass protection.
Yeah.
And they left me in the game. And then the last minute, they said, okay, we were going max protect. So in the last minute, I ran out, and I think Cedric came in somebody, or it was just open. I think it was open. I'm not sure. So I had Chance ran off the field. Yeah. So I'm looking at Seth, and I'm looking at the team. We just called the huddle. I'm looking at everybody. We look like we're focused, right? And I went off the field, and I turn around. I'm like, man, because I'm thinking, okay, if we got to go back on the field and get this first down, or if we got to go back on the field and do something, I got to be ready. So I'm getting some water. They snap the ball. I turn around. I see Drew scrambling. In my mind, I'm like, oh, crap, right? I look over to the side. I see last minute. I didn't even think Drew seen it at first. I see Seth come open. I started just holding my arms up in the air like, he's got it through. He's got it through. And literally, as I dropped my head because I was nervous, I seen the ball come up in the air. And then after I saw the ball leave his hand, I'm like, I hope Seth does not drop. And I'm like, he's money. I'm like, Momo, because we're going to call him Momo. Momo is money. Momo is money. So as it fell, and he was catching his stride, because at first I thought the ball was too far in front of him. You remember that? Yeah. I felt like he had to catch up to the ball. And I was like, uh-oh. And then when I saw him get on his horse and catch, I'm like, it's over.
Yeah. Brandon Gorin, did you even see it from your position? Were you on the ground or what? I mean,
no, I mean, I was up. And like Montrell said, obviously we had we always had a lot of receivers in the game. So max protect is a lot different. It means a lot different thing for Purdue back in the day. It was us 5 linemen, probably, and maybe a running back. It's about all we kept in. Stratton those guys out running routes. But I remember they had it was Ohio State, right? So they had, across their front 4, they had guys that were, highly touted, highly recruited, probable NFL players. And matter of fact, the guy I was going against ended up being my teammate in the Patriots years later. But I remember he was a good defensive end, and I thought, I need to hold up my end, and they probably slid the light because he needed help, and so I was on an island by myself. And but no, Drew kind of stepped up in the pocket and released the ball, and like Montrell just said, I thought maybe he overthrew Seth because it kind of looked that way. At first, and Seth caught up to it. I even kind of think when Seth caught up to it, it's kind of like he was reaching out to catch the ball. But I remember when you kind of figured out that he really connected on it, and you kind of look over everybody else and like, did he just do that?
Right.
So you're running down the field and yelling at Drew and things like that, congratulating everybody. Obviously, exciting moment. I mean, the game wasn't necessarily over then. But it was a big momentum shift, and obviously put us in a position to be able to win that game.
Yeah, that no doubt. All right, Seth, you made it through an interview without being directly asked. I'm going to ask you something else, and that not that you ever back down from that. I mean, it's a great thing. But all right, now take me back for all 3 of you as we close this out. That cold night. Montrell probably was tired because I think he carried it over 30 times against Indiana. But that cold night in Ross-Ade Stadium, the most famous, best celebration scene probably in the history of the facility when you beat Indiana, roses were in your mouth or wherever they were. I'll give each one of you guys a little bit of 30 seconds to tell me what you remember from that and what that moment meant to you. And Seth, I'll start with you.
It was cold. I had gloves, but I had these latex gloves, and then I put my receiver gloves over, and I couldn't. I remember running the ball a ton. I remember Montrell having a ton of success.
Yeah.
I remember Vinny with the rose in his mouth.
Yeah.
And I just remember just everyone on the field. That just like when everyone charges the field, it's memorable. So those are the kind of iconic moments that I remember of that game.
Yeah, Montrell, one of my favorite pictures. Tom Campbell, our photographer, has the iconic one with Coach Joe Tiller and Drew Brees. But one of my favorites is you with the rose in the mouth. And I don't know if that's one of Tom's or the Journal and Courier's pictures. But what do you recall? Were you tired after? I think it was 38 carries. Crazy.
Yeah.
But tell me about what you remember from that moment.
Man, I was tired and I was happy, and then all of the little sayings that Coach Tiller used to always say. We win with smart guys, different things like that. All of those things came back to me. I'm like, man, this is not just him recruiting me and saying the right things, or we're going to practice and we're in tour days and he's telling us that, giving us a little saying and we're like, yeah, right, man, whatever, right? He had all these little things, do what you're supposed to do and do it all the time in that way. All these things that he had us doing, I think at that moment it came back to me and it was like, you know what? This is what it was for. Like, this is what all that is for. And so I think, sometimes when you reach the goal line and you reach your goal, it's like it was unbelievable. And to give Purdue that chance and the opportunity and the fans that opportunity to be a part of it, I think it was surreal for me. I mean, the pictures is a part of it, but it doesn't tell the whole emotion that I'm sure everybody was feeling.
Yeah, no question. Brandon, in Indiana, you're an Indiana guy, as Seth, but had that beating Indiana was one thing, but going to the Rose Bowl, and it was a long road for you. I mean, the fact that you're a 5th-year guy, you're an excellent student, as all the 3 of you were. But what was that like? Just your feeling at that time and your memory of that November night in Ross-Ade Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what Montrell said. The emotion, the pictures don't really do it justice. I can remember a November night that would have been 5 years earlier than that, and my freshman year, my true freshman year, and watching IU beat us on that same field.
Yeah.
And being a memory where you kind of like it's kind of shocked because it was a different kind of storming of the field. It was actually a lot of their fans storming our field. to fast forward 5 years and to kind of see where the program had gone and where we went as a group, and some of us, especially some of the senior class, and what we had kind of went through, and some of the tenure and some of the changes, and when you make changes and you have an intent of reaching a goal, and to see them come to fruition, and it was just a memorable moment, memorable for our, obviously our families, all the guys that are going to be a part of this weekend and a part of that time, and the special memories, that the bond that we kind of all hold, kind of seeing all that come to fruition, the fans being able to be a part of that, and being at home, special being at home too.
Makes a big difference, to be able to do it at home. Yeah, it will live forever. You guys are immortalized in that moment and that season, and congratulations to all of you. And have a great weekend. Saturday will be fun for the Purdue fans for certain. It'll be more fun if Purdue can win, but it'll be really an experience for all you guys to come back and get the roar of the crowd one more time. And I think that will be well deserved. And I know there are a lot of people that want to pay homage to you guys and what you brought to Purdue football. So safe travels to West Lafayette, all of you. We'll look forward to seeing you in Ross-Ade Saturday. And thanks so much. I'm grateful for your time today. I know you're all busy, and I really appreciate your time for coming on Gold and Black Live. We'll be back for segment 3. Brian Newbert and Tom Dienhart will join me to talk about Purdue, Illinois. There is a football game tomorrow as well, and we'll look forward to breaking that down. Guys, thanks again. Have a great trip up here and a great and safe weekend.
Thank you so much.